Hi everyone, welcome back to the Killingly Public Library. Today we're going to have a huge amount of fun with plants because our topic is carnivorous plants. Carnivorous plants live all over the world. They even live in Connecticut. They live in Canada. It's an amazing plant. They've adapted to very poor conditions where there's hardly any nutrition for them. They get their nutrition from insects. This is a mini bog garden that I made. And what it is a large pot with a smaller pot inside it. And I used aquarium sealer to seal up the holes in the pots so it doesn't drain out, and to attach the little pot to the bigger one. The little pot in here has water in it all the time. And the two pitcher plants here are in this nice damp area, which is watered from the pot, just oozing out water. And I also water the entire thing. So these are pitcher plants. We have pitcher plants in Connecticut. This one has a pretty fern growing out of it. I suppose I should eliminate the fern, but I just like the way it looks. And I like the pitcher plants, the way they just look so graceful and elegant and strange. The way the pitcher plants work is like a pitfall trap. The insects are attracted to the top of the plant. It's like a vase, and if you have your pitcher plants in direct sunlight, the pitchers will turn deep red, and that is very attractive to the insects. And there's some nectar there too at the mouth of the vase, and the insects will be attracted. They'll go right up in there and they'll think, wow, this is great. But then they'll fall down inside. The sides of the pitcher plant are very slippery, and they have downward pointing hairs. So that's the end for the insect. I put some rocks on this bog garden, kind of as I guess you could say a mulch to keep the moisture in. It's kind of a Flintstonian mulch. So in Connecticut, I think there's a bog in the patchogue forest where you can see pitcher plants, and also sundews, and there's also something called bladderworts, which you probably won't see because they're in the water. I'll show you a picture of a sundew. They trap their, can you see that? Oops. They trap their insect prey with sticky hair-like projections that I guess taste good to the insects anyway. And then digestive juices on the hairs dissolve the insects. I don't know if you can see this picture. I traveled to Newfoundland about 20 years ago, and the official provincial flower of Newfoundland is the pitcher plant. Here's the flower of the plant. It's deep, deep red, and these are the pitchers here. It's really strange to see them, because the bog is really kind of a wasteland. It's so bright and sunny because none of the flowers or none of the plants get enough nutrients to grow tall, so there's no shade there. It's just sphagnum moss that's forming a nice mat to provide places for the pitcher plants to live and all the other carnivorous plants. I'm sure you all are familiar with the Venus flytrap. You can buy these at local big box stores. They cost like $5. And they come in this little container, and it has some rudimentary instructions on the side, good enough to get you started. I thought I'd repot this into a bigger plant today. Into a bigger pot. Venus flytraps don't need a large pot. There's not really much of a root system. It's mostly the traps and the leaves. These are native to South Carolina and North Carolina, near the seacoast. So I've got my pot. Carnivorous plants do very well in plastic pots because they like moisture. The plastic will retain the moisture. I'm going to put it into the ceramic pot. This should work also. And I'm pretty good about watering. Let's got a drainage hole. I have my little broken piece of pot to cover up the hole so the soil doesn't come out, but the water can drain through. I'm going to make a special mix for the carnivorous plant. This is sphagnum peat moss, which is just like the sphagnum peat moss in the bog. So I'm going to take a handful of that, and then, well, maybe a little more. And my perlite. Pure perlite will provide a little aeration. Maybe 60 peat moss, 40% perlite. You could go up to 50-50 maybe. Put some in the bottom of the pot. And I'll see if I can get this guy out of here. There he is. This one's just planted in pure peat moss. I'm not going to try to disturb it at all. It will grow out through the peat moss and into the grow out through the sphagnum moss and into the peat moss and perlite. Do you have a Venus flytrap? It only needs 1 or 2 bugs a month to thrive. And please don't give it hamburger. They're not set up to digest hamburger. Once one of the traps gets an insect and digests it, the trap will die, it'll turn black, and you can just snip it off. I'll put this on my deck this summer and get a lot of sun. And the traps will turn bright red. The traps inside have little hair triggers, and if an insect or I put a little stick or something in there, if you touch the triggers a couple times, it'll just snap shut. Don't do it too often to impress your friends, because it takes a lot of energy for the plant to do that. Once in a while is okay. Now there's 2 kind of special things about taking care of carnivorous plants. One is the water. Because of their environment that they're used to, they can't take regular water. It has too many minerals and dissolved chemicals in it. So you can use distilled water that you can buy in the grocery store or big box store, or you can use rainwater. Whenever I know that we're going to get a storm, I put a bucket outside, and I brought some of my rainwater with me. You should keep these evenly moist. And Venus flytraps like to be in maybe about a ½ inch of water, no more. You don't want them soaking. You just want them to have moisture around them at all times. The other important thing about carnivorous plants is they need a dormant time in the winter. If you would just leave this on your sunny windowsill, it would eventually just give out. It needs to rest. And I've tried a few different methods. I've read that you can put them in your refrigerator, which I don't want to do, or into your basement and just keep them dark and cool and a little drier. That didn't work for me either. But these guys survived very nicely last winter on my new sun porch, where it can get down to 50, maybe 40 degrees towards the windows and down near the floor. So I put them down as far, close to the floor and the windows as I could, and I didn't water them as much. They I could tell they were still alive, but I could tell that they were having a good rest. And here they are, back again. They'll get much bigger this summertime. have one other interesting thing to tell you. In colonial times, the Venus flytrap was called the Tippity Witchet, or the meadow clam. Thank you.